TacomaLanguageAcademy.com. If you're interested in learning Spanish with me, I have some openings for some upcoming classes and for some private lessons. You can apply for admission at TacomaLanguageAcademy.com. Spots are available for true beginners, for intermediate learners as well. So lots of opportunities coming up for Spanish Story Lab, private lessons, which are either individual or group lessons. Great idea for friends or for couples to learn some Spanish together. And also for Spanish Chat Club, which is a little bit more advanced. Intermediate speakers are welcome there. This summer, I have a couple of sections of Spanish Language Accelerator that will be open as well. So that's a great one for people who have a little tiny bit of Spanish under their belt. Maybe they've completed that Start Here course on Listen, Read, Interact, listenreadinteract.com/start. And they feel like they got a little bit, but they want to take the next step. They want to get from a little bit of Spanish to having quite a bit of things they can talk about. So that is what that one's all about. A little bit more structure, quite a few more sessions in that one. So there's 3 courses: Spanish Story Lab for beginners, Spanish Chat Club for intermediate speakers, and Spanish Language Accelerator for people who want to take that next step from a little bit of Spanish to having quite a bit more under their belt. TacomaLanguageAcademy.com, TacomaLanguageAcademy.com. Hola, 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 y bienvenidos a otro episodio de Listen, Read, Interact. Welcome to another episode of Listen, Read, Interact. This is episode number 79, titled Oops, Bueno, Part 1. And you can follow along on the show notes page at listenreadinteract.com/79, since this is episode number 79. There's a link also in the show description down below in your podcast player. My name is Andrew Snyder, and I am the host of the Listen, Read, Interact podcast, and I have been teaching Spanish at the university level for a long time. I don't want to say how many years, probably 16, 17 years, something like that. Maybe longer, if I count some speaking courses that I taught when I was an undergraduate at Washington State. Go Cougs! If you are a true beginner, today's episode's probably not for you. I would recommend starting back at episode number 50. Or go to listenreadinteract.com/start, and there is a free course for true beginners. There's a couple of courses on Listen, Read, Interact. Just go under courses, and you will find what is available. We have the Start Here course, and we also have a Telling Time course at this point in time. So that's what we got. Hey, listenreadinteract.com. Great resource for learners of Spanish. So if you're a true beginner, go back to episode 50, go to the Start Here course, and that's where I would start. But if you're an intermediate learner or have had some Spanish before, today's episode should be approachable for you. And every episode is somewhat approachable because on the show notes page, you'll see 3 distinct sections. There is a section that is called Pre-Reading and Interaction. There is a section called Brief Reading and Interaction. And then there's the Complete Reading, which also has interactive activities as well. Our goal for every episode is to get to that complete reading, hear it, understand it, read it, understand it, and then interact with the various activities that are on the show notes page. I really designed it so that you can listen to a bit of the episode today, a bit of the episode another time this week, and a bit of the episode another time this week. Basically, you want to split it into 3 parts. And I think that doing maybe 10, 15 minutes, doing the pre-reading and interaction, listening to the example sentences, and that's probably good for one day. Then move on another day to part 2, and move on another day to part 3. If you can split up this episode like that, and in the other days of the week, you find other things to do with Spanish, listening to Spanish, reading Spanish, interacting with Spanish in some way. If you can get some sort of routine for yourself where this is happening every single day, 2 days in a row is the start of a new routine. And so if you can make this a habit where, hey, language learning is part of my day, 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. Anything that's sustainable will get you way better results than doing a deep dive one day and then burning out. So make it sustainable for yourself. The best diet is the one you can stick to. So if you can't stick to a diet, then it's not very good. It could be the healthiest diet in the world, and if you can't stick to it, then it's worthless, right? So find a routine that works for you. And I think that using these 3 sections of each episode is a wonderful way, a fantastic way of building a nice routine for yourself over multiple days. So obviously, this is not enough Spanish for you to be perfectly fluent in Spanish. You need to get more listening, more reading, more interaction in the language. You need an immersive environment, but you also need the language to be comprehensible, meaning easy to understand. The messages that are being communicated to you, you have to be able to decipher in Spanish. And so for true beginners, that's like, hey, we need to really simplify. And then as you get a little bit of Spanish under your belt, you can understand more and more complex things. And as you get to be an intermediate learner, then all of a sudden the world kind of opens up to you and you have all sorts of content that you can consume. You can listen to stuff and read stuff and watch things that are fun on TV and cool shows and cool books to read. So lots of things that are open for you. But you got to get to that place first where you have enough language where all of a sudden the world that is full of interesting and novel materials for you to use open up to you. And until those open up to you, then you kind of have to piece it together. But that's the idea with this show, is that it's going to help you piece together some materials, some input, as we call it, the language that we hear, the language that we read, that is interesting, engaging, and has ways for you to interact successfully at your current level. Okay, so there's 3 parts. We got the brief reading and interaction, and the key piece there are those example sentences. There are 8 sentences that you will hear on the podcast, and they're also written on the show notes page. And they're in a blue box. So it says ejemplos, and you'll hear each one 3 times. Once slow, once very slow, and once again a bit faster, so you can hear it at real-time speed or thereabouts. One really good way to interact with that is through a dictation. So all you have to do for that, it's very simple. Get out a sheet of paper and listen as I read them to you, as you hear them, listen to those sentences, and try to write them down. So obviously, if you're at the gym or you're driving, you're not going to be able to do that. But if you are at home in a quiet environment, maybe somewhere you just got your headphones in, you're at a cafe or something, write down the sentences as they sound to you. Then, once you have your 8 sentences written down, you can double check your work and make corrections. And a really good thing to do at the end to top off this activity is to rewrite the sentence without the mistakes. So if you wrote something down and you wrote it down as it sounded to you, but it turns out that you spelled something wrong or you missed some accent marks or something wasn't quite right, rewriting that sentence again by hand, that's very important. The by hand thing helps tie this stuff to long-term memory. And reading your handwriting is something that's very, very good for long-term memory. So listen, write down the sentences as they sound to you, and from there, check your work and rewrite the completed sentence. I have a template for this. You can find on the show notes page. There's a free download. So go there. It'll take you to my other site, Read to Speak Spanish, and you'll be able to download that for free. That is called the dictation template. The short reading has some interactives with it as well, and the long reading also has some interactives with it on the show notes page. So lots of ways to listen, lots of ways to read, and lots of ways to interact. The readings have footnotes with likely unfamiliar vocabulary, which kind of matches today with the vocabulary that is being targeted in the first section. So that is what there is. There's also another activity that's really good. I like it a lot. It's called a scriptorium exercise, but I call it el escritorio because that's a nice Spanish-sized version of that word. El escritorio. And there is another template for that you can download as well. And that one is a lot of listening and copying, or reading and copying, trying to put as much information into your short-term memory as you can, and then trying to remember that. And that's a good way to kind of build that short-term memory as much as we can. It's quite limited for ourselves, that working memory, that as much as you can hold in there at one time. And in a new language, if you're learning a new language, that's a really good activity because it helps you kind of build that working memory, see how much you can store in there at one time. And your brain gets pretty good at it, but at first it's kind of clunky. So this template is a great way to simplify that activity for you. You can find that also on the show notes page, listenreadinteract.com/79. When you hear the guitar music, we're going to start the show. We'll be all in Spanish for the example sentences, for the short reading, and we'll take a brief break, brief intermission, pause, and we'll come back for the complete reading at the end. Hey, muchas gracias. Vamos a comenzar. Ejemplos. Número 1. Mi abuelo gana dinero vendiendo pan. Mi abuelo gana dinero vendiendo pan. Mi abuelo gana dinero vendiendo pan. 2. Compramos muchas cosas para la fiesta. Compramos muchas cosas para la fiesta. Compramos muchas cosas para la fiesta. 3. La señora López está casada con un médico. La señora López está casada con un médico. La señora López está casada con un médico. 4. Mi amiga es cantante en un grupo pequeño. Mi amiga es cantante en un grupo pequeño. Mi amiga es cantante en un grupo pequeño. 5. El niño es muy amable con sus compañeros. El niño es muy amable con sus compañeros. El niño es muy amable con sus compañeros. 6. Yo propongo estudiar en la biblioteca hoy. Yo propongo estudiar en la biblioteca hoy. Yo propongo estudiar en la biblioteca hoy. 7. Necesitamos boletos para entrar al museo. Necesitamos boletos para entrar al museo. Necesitamos boletos para entrar al museo. 8. Ellos van a alquilar un carro mañana. Ellos van a alquilar un carro mañana. Ellos van a alquilar un carro mañana. Lectura breve. Me llamo Lalo y vivo en Santiago, Chile. Soy bajo y un poco tonto. También soy un modelo famoso y soy influencer. Antes ganaba mucho dinero, pero no era rico. A veces no tenía dinero porque siempre compraba cosas que no necesitaba. Por ejemplo, me encantaba comprar ropa de marca y me fascinaban los zapatos de Louis Vuitton. Estoy casado con una mujer llamada Sonia. Sonia es tan famosa como yo. Ella no es modelo ni influencer. Sonia es cantante. Es más alta y mucho más inteligente que yo. Pero Sonia me ama porque soy guapo, musculoso y muy amable. Todos los años, Sonia y yo vamos de vacaciones. Un año, yo propuse ir a Estados Unidos para conocer el Monte Rushmore. Como era mi idea, hice todos los planes. Compré los boletos de avión e hice las reservaciones del hotel. También alquilé un carro porque sabía que Estados Unidos es un país grande. Después de hacer todo eso, descansé porque estaba muy satisfecho conmigo mismo por todo el trabajo que había hecho. Just a brief intermission and we'll be back to the show. Listen, Read, Interact is a value for value podcast, which means if you are enjoying the show and you're finding value in the show, it's given to you for free. But all I ask in return is that if you have found value in the show, please provide some value back my way. And you can do that in many ways. Time, talent, and treasure. You can ask a question, send me a message, andrew@readtospeak.com. Ask me about language acquisition or Spanish, and I can try to answer it in the beginning portion of the show. That's very helpful. Hey, another great way is by sending your treasure this way. And if you found value, all you have to do is donate the value that you found that you received from the show. And I can't determine that value for you. So if you found value, please send value back. And you can do that at listenreadinteract.com/donate. There's a link in the episode description as well. listenreadinteract.com/donate. You can do a credit card donation with Stripe, or you can do a PayPal donation. Those are great ways to provide value back to the show and to help us keep going. our goal is to do 100 episodes. And if there is still support for the show, if there's enough support for the show, we might, it's got to be enough. We're going to keep going. So we'll need your support. listenreadinteract.com/donate. $4 weekly sustaining donations are very helpful, especially when times are slow. For people who donate $50 and above, I will read your name and amount on the show, location, if that's on there. And as a way of saying thank you, if you have a short note for me, I'll also read that on the show as a way of saying thanks. Hey, this is awesome. Thank you to everyone who has donated in the past. I see you $4 weekly donators. Thank you so much. That really does help out a lot. So listenreadinteract.com/donate. This is part 1 of a 3-part series. So we're going on to the complete reading, but the story does not end here. So come back next week. Every Saturday there's a new show, and you'll hear part 2 of the 3-part series. listenreadinteract.com/donate. Muchas gracias y vamos a seguir con el programa. Lectura completa. Había un hombre llamado Lalo que vivía en Santiago, Chile. Lalo, quien era bajo y muy tonto, era un modelo famoso. También era influencer. Ganaba mucho dinero, pero no era rico. A veces no tenía dinero porque siempre compraba cosas que no necesitaba. Les pongo un ejemplo. A Lalo le encantaba comprar ropa de marca y le fascinaban los zapatos de Louis Vuitton. Lalo estaba casado con una mujer llamada Sonia. Sonia era tan famosa como su marido. No era ni modelo ni influencer. Sonia era cantante. Era más alta y mucho más inteligente que Lalo, quien era muy tonto. Pero Sonia lo amaba porque Lalo era guapo, musculoso y muy amable. Todos los años, Lalo y Sonia iban de vacaciones. Cierto año, Lalo planteó ir a Estados Unidos a conocer el monte Rushmore. Como era su idea, Lalo hizo todos los planes. Compró los boletos de avión e hizo las reservaciones de hotel. También alquiló un carro porque sabía que los Estados Unidos era un país grande. Después de hacer todo eso, Lalo descansó, ya que estaba muy satisfecho consigo mismo por el trabajo que había hecho. Bueno. Really good job if you made it this far. Excelente trabajo. Fantástico. Remember, you can always go to the show notes page, and that's where I would send you now. listenreadinteract.com/79. If you haven't been already, it's a wonderful place, a great place, a fantastic place for you, all the good adjectives, for you to interact with the language that you heard. There's readings that are the same that you heard on the show. Comprehension questions, complete the sentences, longer answers, short answers, some ordering activities, lots of good stuff for free at listenreadinteract.com/79. The show notes page. There's also a link in the episode description down below. Hey, thank you so much for listening today. And please remember us at listenreadinteract.com/donate. listenreadinteract.com/donate. Muchas gracias y hasta la próxima.